on your nomination.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to you. Good morning to your listening audience. Good morning, Cayman, and to Caymanians overseas.
Okay, I know that I just, a little housekeeping. Mr. Andre Ebanks will be on with us until 8 o'clock, half an hour, so not a whole lot of time for phone calls. He wants to lay out his agenda, talk about his manifesto as well. But what we will do, we will invite you. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at for the record, one word, for the record at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261. We will look at your questions, comments, and if time allows, Mr. Andre Ebanks will address those as well. And of course, we're curious to know, Mr. Ebanks, here's a situation where you're running in a constituent where the incumbent member is not running. And we're curious to know whether or not the approach in terms of campaigning is any different if you were running against an incumbent as opposed to having two new candidates in the electoral district. Over to you, sir.
Well, thank you for the question. As a newcomer to electoral politics, I haven't had the experience to be able to completely contrast, but I can set out some observations. Mm-hmm. How I expect it would have been different if there was an incumbent. Mm-hmm. Because you would imagine that an incumbent, even a highly popular, or even if an incumbent had lost popularity, would still have a natural base of voters that are supporting that person. So that you would have then been splitting the vote between minusing those support levels and then trying to go after with the incumbent and whoever else was running the remainder of the constituency.
Yes.
That's now taken out of the equation, and it's just an open field with two candidates. So I would imagine that the critical distinction would be is that the field is completely wide open.
Okay. And your decision for becoming a candidate, of course, when I was in the immigration department, I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time, and I went to cabinet, became cabinet secretary. One person said, "I can't believe OC gave up that nice job that he had to go and make cabinets."
I hadn't heard that. No, it's an interesting question because people do look at, say, the representative role on behalf of Cayman to the UK and Europe as a prestigious role, and why would you give that up?
Yes.
But the answer was fairly simple. The role was contracted to end in 2022.
Okay.
And I thought by taking it, which would have been a 3-year contract because it started in September 2019, that in addition to just the pride that you have to represent the countries overseas, because the London office is essentially a semi-embassy, a consulate, a place, a haven for Caymanians to get contact in terms of information, back and forth, travel, and other services. So not just that, but also the professional growth that you would get from it to be able to represent the country internationally. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to find another role in the civil service that would provide you those levels of dimensions. And broaden your experience and your exposure. But because of certain factors that happened in 2020, in terms of the country unfortunately being listed on an EU tax list, having to deal with COVID, and the ramifications of COVID in order to be able to rejoin Caymanian families, students that were trapped overseas in the UK, not just in the UK, but Europe and as far as Asia and Australia, getting people home under circumstances where there were no flights and the government had to work really hard with BA and the governor's office and the foreign office to arrange flights. And then in addition to that, having to grapple and study with the ramifications of Brexit. I kind of felt that the experience that I thought going in that might have accumulated over a 3-year period by circumstance happened in a very condensed period of 18 months. So having had that exposure and then coming home December 2020, looking at Cayman, I saw that COVID really did change things. We've had a certain level of underlying issues that have been ongoing for several election cycles. But because of COVID and a pausing of certain aspects of the economy, these issues are now coming to us with an intense velocity. So I just took a hard look around and leaned over to my wife very early in the new year and said, if I'm a trained lawyer, if I've been in the financial services ministry, if I've been in the community affairs ministry, and now I've represented the country on the international stage, is it really for us to fly back to London and live, as you mentioned, as a comfortable life? or put myself up for a wider donation of service, roll my sleeves up, not complain on the sidelines, and actually dig in and try to help the country in a bigger way.
Okay, excellent. So then let's talk about your experiences that you've had so far, either in government or in the private sector, and how that then prepares you to ably not only represent your constituency, but if called upon to represent the Cayman Islands as a whole. And let's talk about your vision of what you would like to see for the Cayman Islands.
Well, very quickly, my background is as a qualified attorney. I worked at two firms, first at Appleby and then at Walker's. And that was almost for 10 years. Then at about 2014, I can't take credit for this. My wife has already made the jump from the private sector to government. Okay. She's a CFO. She's a government CFO right now. And she spotted a job to be in the financial services ministry as a senior legislative policy advisor. I applied for the role. I was successful to get it, and it really did open my eyes to the value of public service. To be able to work on legislation and bring new products online that help the financial services industry as a whole, rather than just working for one private enterprise, it was a rewarding feeling. It was larger than any bill that I ever produced at Walker's, where you're actually providing legislation that assisted the country as a whole. And then my first degree isn't actually law, it's in sociology. Oh. So I saw the post of Deputy Chief Officer in Community Affairs, and that took me back to my first love, my first passion. And that job opened my eyes to Cayman, to see exactly some of the struggles in some of our neighborhoods. When you actually walk the streets with some of the community development officers and social workers in the Department of Children and Family Services, because that's what Community Affairs looks after, DCFS, NEU, and the Gender Affairs Unit, and you see how in some places, in some corners, particularly in West Bay, our people are struggling. They're struggling because they need advanced services. They need greater education. They need access to employment. They need a revamped social welfare program that's more fit for purpose with enhanced legislation, greater technology to be able to assess clients faster and get them benefits and services quicker. It just opened my mind to the possibilities, problems, but also opportunities to really help our people. And then the UK role, the representative role. I don't like to say UK representative because you're actually there to represent the Cayman Islands. Right. That role opened my eyes to how we're seen internationally, and what it takes to convey and convince people that Cayman is a good and honorable place to do business and not some tax haven that's taking the world's money. It's interesting to see and liaise with, say, UK parliamentarians, EU officials, particularly tax officials, to be able to explain our tax model in a way and actually go to bat for Cayman. Plus be able to help our citizens there in terms of their university students who sometimes have to fight because their universities, amazingly, don't realize that we're British overseas territory and they should be applicable for home fees. So sometimes, many occasions, you have to go to bat for our students to write letters to the university and say, hang on a second, check the geography. Yeah. We are actually a British overseas territory, and by virtue of that, there are certain regulations that afford our students home fees.
Plus being dual citizens as well.
Exactly. So all of that to say this is that I've now seen what it takes to represent the country on an international level, on a national level, and also a local level.
Excellent. I think, DJ Lynn, are you ready for a commercial break? This is a good time for us to take a commercial break. So when we come back, we can have a longer period of time to talk before we go to our 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Mr. Andre Ebanks, a candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections, seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay South in our parliament, will continue shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
While the Cayman Islands has long been a maritime abode, it was under Commissioner Alan Cardinal that the pastime of yachting or sailing would come to pass. Commissioner Cardinal started his post in the Cayman Islands on February 14, 1934. In January 1935, the first Cayman Islands Regatta was held in Georgetown, with boats participating from Cayman Brac. Commissioner Cardinal had foreseen that the islands were capable of showcasing their excellent shipbuilding and sailing talents in organized competition, as a means to attract international investors. With the assistance of one Edmund S. Parsons and Lieutenant Colonel B.P. Dobson, Commissioner Cardinal would form the Cayman Islands Yacht Club. In a sign of genius, the Yacht Club was also used to reform the local Boy Scouts, but as Sea Scouts serving in Georgetown and West Bay. By 1937, the Cayman Islands Yacht Club boasted 134 members, with 150 Boy Scouts and Cubs.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
We are telling you ahead of time, giving you the heads up to get ready. The Black Tie Affair with a circus twist. Step right up. The annual gala hosted by Rotary Central for the Alex Panton Foundation. Saturday, May 29th, Marriott Beach Hotel Ballroom. Step right up. Support the Alex Panton Foundation, dedicated to serving and preserving young people through vulnerable times, mental health intervention, treatment, guidance, preserving life. The ambience of a circus affair. Tickets are limited, tickets are precious. Get your tickets from Rotary Central members. Go online to Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation Facebook pages. Rotary Central and the Alex Panton Foundation. Rotary opens opportunity.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice-cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Ort Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Andre Ebanks, former Deputy Chief Officer within the Government of the Cayman Islands, former Cayman Islands representative in London, in our London office there as well. And as if you were listening earlier, he is also a trained lawyer. He is seeking to infuse new blood in our parliament, new and young blood in our parliament, and in order to do so, he's seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay South in our parliament in their upcoming April 14th general elections. I think, Mr. Ebanks, you want to talk some about your vision, your manifesto as well?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much. And it goes back to before the break of the reason for running. As one of the things one of the main things on my mind was I hadn't really seen in our public discourse a vision for Cayman going forward. I think we come from a proud history of Caymanian politicians in earlier decades that would set out a true vision for the country, to set out to be a leader in financial services. And that was sort of missing for me in our public discourse. I want to build a plan to reimagine Cayman around three central pillars. First, benefiting Caymanian families, first and foremost, securing a strong economy, and advancing a sustainability agenda. As I walk the district, and as you might appreciate, West Bay South is a very economically diverse constituency. But the question still remains on everyone's mind, from the upper economic tiers to the lower economic tiers, that the cost of living is too high. I think we need to take a three-step approach to, one, look at sort of our customs duties and other stamp duties, to see whether or not there's time for some adjustments for those that are disproportionately impacted, doing that in full consultation with the private sector to ensure that those are passed on, because those are items that can be addressed in the short term. In the medium term, I think we really need to accelerate the national energy policy to reduce the cost of energy, which then provides more disposable income at the end of every month. And in the longer term, the biggest way in which you can deal with cost of living is to raise the earning power of Caymanians, to get them back to work. One of the things that really was on my mind even before COVID was our students in the UK who are having stellar degrees and then writing into the London office and saying, but I can't get a job back home. I'm being told I'm overqualified. That can't exist in Cayman. If we're sending students away and asking them to uphold their end of the bargain and come back with stellar degrees, the least that we can do is ensure that we're breaking every sweat to ensure that they're getting the jobs that they actually deserve. And if there is a job that they've applied for because they desire it, but their qualifications exceed the job description, then that's their call. They should not be barred from those jobs. So increasing the earning power also assists with the cost of living. Advancing the sustainability agenda, I can't say it enough. There is so much opportunity in now converting from fossil fuels into renewable energy, not just the cost, but the overall image of the island, to be able to protect our environment. I saw that the government has signed a deal to complete the landfill to a waste of energy. Yes, it's taken a while, but I think we should be thankful that we're at least getting there. We need to be able to have, as part of an overall vision, to be a greener, more sustainable island, and that's a small portion of it. We also need to plan sustainable development hand in hand. So right now, as you might know, there's a 2011 climate change policy that's just in draft form. By now, I've reread it again. There are things in there that are now obsolete. It needs some modernizing changes, but it's there. It's right there for us to be able to grab the bull by the horns. And by planning around a greener economy, not only are we changing the image, but we're also now producing another pillar to the economy because it takes human and person power to put on solar panels, to be able to build wind farms. So you're adding more employment opportunities, you're bringing down the cost of living, and now the island is becoming known for something else, because one of the challenges overseas is me walking the halls of the UK Parliament as the parliamentarians who are even favorable to us, or even say the governor here, like the financial services, it can continue and it must stay strong, and it's a valid and valuable pillar of our economy. But the world isn't buying our story. They're not accepting the good of it. So we need another narrative. We need to be known for something else. And if we can show the world that we're the regional leader in climate change and blue and green efforts, you now then have the world looking at Cayman in a completely different light. You're now getting opportunities to showcase Cayman at, say, UN conferences. There's one coming up, a crucial UN conference called COP26. It's going to be held in Scotland in November this year, COVID permitting, and making sure that that runs on schedule. But that's a major opportunity where the UK is going to be the home court, the home venue for that. They will be, from conversations I had when I was a representative, they will be incorporating overseas territories. There is no reason why Cayman can't be a shining example, even if we don't have everything in place by November, which we won't. But to show that we got started in earnest would be a major achievement.
So we in that area, we have the opportunity to be a leader, just like we are in financial services as well.
Correct.
Okay?
It adds to us, not takes away.
Yeah. Now, what would you say to those persons who say, well, Andre wants to represent the electoral district of West Bay South, but where does he live? And we know that the Constitution and the requirements to be an elected official does not require you to necessarily be resident in that electoral district.
Well, that's a very good question. And I'll tell you what my old man, Atlee Ebanks, says. He says, Andre, it's not where you lay your head, it's where your heart holds dearest. I'm a West Bayer. I've lived in the district. I also lived in the constituency, importantly, up to 2011.
Okay.
But I got married. I got married to a wonderful girl from Savannah of the Eden clan, cousins to the DJ in the house right now. And it was important to her to live closer to the in-laws. Now, I didn't see that I was going to go as far as Savannah, so we compromised. Marriage is compromised on Prospect.
Yes.
And that's been the marital home. Now, going forward, I still, in my heart, and I would say the same for her, is not really in Prospect. She's still a Savannah girl, and I'm still a West Bayer. So that's where my heart is. I couldn't really see, since I actually lived in West Bay South, representing anywhere else. In addition to that, think of the role of the representative to the UK. I was still helping Caymanians overseas from London, 5, sometimes 6 hours ahead. And in fact, it made me even more conscious to provide a level of service, because I didn't want anyone to feel that a service was dropped just because you're in London. So I wanted for folks to pick, when they call, that the phone is answered, that emails are answered. I'm going to apply that same level of intensity, that same drive of service and connectivity to being the representative for West Bay South. In addition to that, we already have a physical presence on 111 Willie Farrington Drive that's open right now as the campaign office, 10 to 2, Monday through Saturday. If I'm so blessed to be elected, that will be converted to the constituency office with longer hours so people can be connected. I also think that because of the economic diversity of West Bay South, we have an enormous opportunity for the two sides to work more closely with each other. Just canvassing this week, I saw the son of a prominent attorney. And the son is interested, genuinely interested, in more traditional Caymanian trades. He's not interested in law or accounting or some of the more quote-unquote white-collar professions. And then I know Caymanians who come from multi-generational families and more trades, but they want to be accountants and lawyers. So we have a wonderful opportunity within one constituency to create community working groups where you can learn from each other. So that multi-generational Caymanians say, oh, young man, your father is a lawyer, but you're more interested in more what we do in the hospitality. Come here, let me show you. And then on the other side, if you have a multi-generational Caymanian family and say, well, you're interested in law, come over here, let me show you what we can do. We need to get back to really enhancing and sewing the social fabric of our country, because the other thing that's on my mind is that we seem to be moving steadily towards two Caymans. that's not a recipe for success. Our recipe for success in our history is everybody moving as one Cayman. We've got to find little ways and separate from the government to be able to pitch in, extend a hand across a community. And that's where the MP can be the bridge.
Okay. Now, again, I'd like to compare and contrast your role in the London office, the Cayman Islands office in London, and your role as a legislator and a constituent representative as well. When you look at the qualities and the demands that were needed, the qualities that were needed and the demands that were made on you in the London office, how do you compare those with becoming a representative, being a representative?
They're similar in the sense that because the London office is looking after your, essentially, if you wanted to make the analogy, your constituents are the Caymanians overseas. So essentially what you're having to do is respond to quote-unquote constituent concerns or problems and help them address them. So for example, you might have a Caymanian who might come forward to you because they're having a dispute with their UK landlord. They're having a dispute with, as I mentioned before, the university. So it's similar in the sense that a concern comes in from a constituent or a citizen, and you have to be able to respond. And some of those things might be outside of your actual power. So you have to sit around and think about who in the UK department do I know that can help me with this. So the same thing I suppose would apply here. That if you're something that's outside of your power, say sits in planning, sits in the needs assessment unit, you now have to think and lean on those relationships to be able to work with that civil servant to help you address the problem. Or it could be a dispute between two citizens themselves that aren't getting along, and you have to get into the middle of it. Some of the toughest negotiation I had was not necessarily with the EU tax officials. It was between a parent here who wanted a child during COVID, and they're not children, they're students, they're grown, who wanted them to come home. And the student is calling the office saying, Mr. Andre, I'm not going home. So there was rounds of negotiation between parent and student of how you're going to be able to, when they should go home and what's the appropriate time. So all that's in terms of negotiations, problem solving, and then representation. As I said before, liaising with UK parliamentarians to put Cayman on the best foot, I think was an excellent training ground for the current role.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, we have about 1 minute left. I want to give you an opportunity for contact details, your next meeting, as well. Anything that you want to put out there?
Sure. Next meeting will be on the 7th. So Wednesday the 7th in Garston, just in front of the appliance store. We're going to the hardware store, and we're going to trim down the meeting to be able to just focus on the manifesto. Okay. So there won't be a lot of speakers.
Yes.
One MC and just me talking. In addition to that, anyone can contact me on my direct cell, 925-8554. Contact me anytime, and then on my website, andreebanks.ky.
Okay. Well, Mr. Ebanks, I want to wish you all the best in your endeavors, and look forward to having you back, hopefully here on For the Record before the 14th of April. Folks, that was Mr. Andre Ebanks, former Deputy Chief Officer within the Cayman Islands government, former Cayman Islands representative in the United Kingdom. He's seeking election in the constituency of West Bay South in our upcoming April 14th general elections. Please stay tuned. We're going to 8 o'clock news. When we return, we will have other candidates in the studio as well this morning, so don't change that dial. For the Record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
This Easter, make it all about the food you and your family love.
Make it about jet fresh seafood and the freshest meat selection.
Make it easy with an Easter family dinner from the deli.
Make it sweet with a custom sweet treat from the bakery.
And make it full of the best cheese from all over the world.
This Easter, make it Foster's. From East End to West Bay, we're the island's supermarket. For more info, go to fosters.ky.
Foster's. Better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 30th of June 2021. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpensions.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
For today's biggest news,
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Georgetown South candidates Barbara Connolly and Alaric Lindsley discussed a range of issues at the Cayman Islands Chamber Forum Tuesday night. Incumbent Barbara Connolly says if re-elected, she will continue to listen to the concerns of the community and has established a constituency council to take representation to the next level.
Going forward, I will continue to listen to your concerns and action them accordingly. I will establish a constituency council to take representation to the next level. We have achieved a lot, but there is a lot more to be done.
Challenger Alaric Lindsley says voters need to grade the performance of government the way students are graded, not just on their performance in one area like the COVID lockdown, but across the spectrum of their responsibilities.
So I would give them a fail for public education. I would give them a fail for the environment, for failure to enforce environmental laws. I'll give them a fail for healthcare.
The forums continue tonight at 7:15, featuring candidates for Georgetown West. You can watch them live on Radio Cayman's YouTube channel and Facebook page. A police officer is assaulted while transporting a passenger to the hospital. Radio Cayman's Shanda Gallego reports.
The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service says on Tuesday afternoon, officers responded to a call for service on Eastern Avenue near Godfrey Nixon Way. Once there, they noticed a woman who appeared to be in distress. They got her in their car and were on their way to the Cayman Islands Hospital when the woman allegedly became agitated and aggressive. Police say she broke through the divider in the vehicle and assaulted one of the officers. This prompted the officers to pull over near the CNB roundabout, and other units attended to help restrain the woman. Emergency services also arrived, and the woman was taken to the Cayman Islands Hospital via ambulance. One of the police officers was treated for minor injuries at the hospital and released. Shanda Gallego, Radio Cayman News.
In other police news, just after 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, police were called to West Bay Road where it was reported that two businesses at the same plaza had been burgled. Both received structural damage and cash was stolen from one of the affected businesses. A third commercial burglary was reported to have taken place at a business in Industrial Park, where entry was gained and attempts were made to steal property without success. Later today, seniors are invited to head over to the open house for the Older Persons Active Aging Center. It all happens from noon until 3 at 131 McClendon Drive behind Price Ride in Georgetown. Those who attend will receive tours of the center. It will provide services run by the Needs Assessment Unit and the Department of Children and Family Services. Doors to the center will officially open to the public on Monday. Seniors will be able to access on-site educational, cultural, and recreational activities. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Gareth Barlow. Italy has expelled 2 Russian diplomats after an Italian naval officer was caught selling confidential documents to an alleged Russian spy handler. Italy's Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio said it was an extremely serious matter. Russia said it would retaliate. The United Nations says Yemen has received its first shipment of COVID-19 vaccines, a week after the government warned that the country was facing a public health disaster. UNICEF says 1/3 AstraZeneca doses arrived at the southern port of Aden. Members of the Presidential Guard in Niger have fought off a military unit that tried to seize the presidential palace in the capital Niamey in the early hours of this morning. The attackers from a nearby airbase fled when the guards responded with heavy shelling. The attack took place 2 days before the swearing-in of Niger's new president, Mohamed Bazoum. The BBC's China correspondent John Sudworth has had to relocate from Beijing to Taiwan following pressure and threats from the Chinese authorities. He's faced legal action, heavy surveillance, obstruction and intimidation. Russia has registered the world's first coronavirus vaccine for animals. Veterinary officials said the test showed it generated antibodies against the virus in dogs, cats, foxes and mink. Mass production of the vaccine is expected to start in April. President Biden is expected to unveil a $2 trillion package of U.S. infrastructure spending today, which will reportedly be financed by a major hike in corporate taxes. It aims to modernize the country's crumbling infrastructure, promote climate initiatives and create millions of jobs. From London, that's the latest BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a not-for-profit, member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. We have an all-in expense ratio of less than 1%, over 20,000 members, and $490 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for our employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or require further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Why work with a Suriba agent? We can tell you that those letters represent a proven understanding of the real estate market in the Cayman Islands. But it also means so much more than that. Our trained Suriba agents are committed to ethics, integrity, and excellence of practice. It's all about confidence, knowing you are working with a qualified Suriba agent. As members of Suriba, your trust is our promise. To find a Suriba agent today or to search thousands of listens, visit Suriba.com. Suriba, the mark of excellence in real estate.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years, ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
The Ministry of Community Affairs cordially invites seniors aged 60 and over to the open house for the Older Persons Active Aging Center on Wednesday, 31st March from 12 noon to 3 p.m.
Located at 131 McClendon Drive behind Price Right in Georgetown, the Older Persons Active Aging Center will provide services run by the Needs Assessment Unit and the Department of Children and Family Services. OPAC visitors will also be able to access educational, cultural, and recreational activities.
OPAC opens weekdays from Monday, 19th April, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
To learn more, contact us at 244-2424. That's 244-2424 or visit opaac.gov.ky.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we are more than an insurance company. We are family. To learn more about our first-in-class individual and group life, disability and accident solutions, please visit Pan American International Insurance Corporation at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Song Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304 and visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
For additional weather information, visit www.weather.gov.ky. As well, stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
The 8:10 a.m. Weather Report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
For over 100 years, more than 5.8 million people across the Americas and the Caribbean have placed their trust in Pan American Life Insurance Group. We have delivered on our promise and have proven that we're more than just an insurance company, we're family. To learn more about our first-in-class group health and employee benefit solutions, please visit Pan American Life Insurance Company of the Cayman Islands at Unit 221, Cannon Place East, North Sound Road, Grand Cayman, or contact us at 949-8304. You can also visit us online at www.palig.com. Pan American Life, people you can trust for life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Achieving your goals is a very rewarding feeling, but at times can feel very frustrating, especially if and when we miss our target. As you approach your goals in life, set yourself up for success.
When setting your goals, tell a friend. Having an accountability partner is often helpful in achieving your goals. Let your parents and partner know what you are planning or doing. Sharing with others also helps us to develop the ideas and our vision. Writing down your goals can help to solidify them for you and help you to stay accountable.
Change your thinking and change your life.
Radio Cayman's Cayman Strong Series was brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Things just got a bit hotter on island. Come in today and order the new spicy Korean subs at Subway. They're sweet, spicy, and especially satisfying. Stop in and try the pulled pork with spicy Korean sauce, or the chicken with spicy Korean sauce. And you can message WhatsApp at 929-4658. Order online or use Let's Eat or the Bento app. The spicy Korean subs at Subway in 2 flavors, extra saucy and extra spicy. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
With Logic, you get more things you do want, like faster fiber internet, more TV, entertainment, and better customer service. And you get less of the things you don't want, like waiting, boredom, and disappointment. More of the good, less of the bad. It just makes sense. Or should I say, it's logical. See what I did there? Call us or go to logic.ky to find out how you could be getting way more of what's good.
Have you been offered new appliances, cash, home repairs, or groceries in exchange for your vote? If so, you are a victim of voter influence. The Anti-Corruption Commission, in connection with the Elections Office, encourages you to take a stand and act against corruption today. As a voter, you should not encourage corruption or tolerate the corruption of others. During this election season, vote responsibly and with integrity. It's time for a change, Cayman. Be that change. For more information, visit the Commission website at anticorruptioncommission.ky. This PSA is endorsed by the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Elections Office.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio at this point in time, so we can attend to other issues, possibly open up the phone lines momentarily as well. I will share with you the COVID-19 update from yesterday, where the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. John Lee, reported that 180 COVID-19 tests had been carried out since it was last reported on Monday, the 29th of March, 2021. There was one positive result. The individual is a traveler who tested positive following routine screening. They will remain in isolation until considered recovered. Number of persons in isolation, either at a government facility or in their homes, as required by the Chief Medical Officer of Health, is 714. The total number of COVID-19 vaccines administered to date, 48,665. So far, 30,068, which represents 46% of the estimated population, have received at least one dose of the Pfizer BioNTech vaccine, with 29% having completed the 2-dose course. So again, Cayman Islands, we are doing well. We're on track. We need to continue the way that we're moving forward with this. We have seen reversals in other jurisdictions. Bermuda going through a very challenging time at this point, as well as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Jamaica, it is basically getting out of control. The number of deaths are rising as well. And of course, there is the usual resistance to the measures and protocols that the government seeks to put in place. What is encouraging in Jamaica and Bermuda as well is the fact that persons are still anxious to be vaccinated as well. So that is a positive. On another note, if you have not already heard, and maybe you did, the fact that the domestic election observers for our upcoming April 14th general elections in the Cayman Islands, those domestic observers have been appointed, and I will share with you the press release that was issued in that regard. It says that following extensive consideration, His Excellency the Governor, Martin Roper, has appointed 9 individuals to serve as domestic election observers in the 2021 general elections. A total of 47 expressions of interest was received following a call for submissions by the governor's office on the 9th of March 2021. The governor tasked a selection committee chaired by the Deputy Governor, Honorable Franz Manderson, to review the applications and put forward recommendations for the most suitable applicants. Members of the selection committee also included James M. Ryan, former Chief Secretary, Sophia Ann Harris, Chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Rosa Whitaker Miles, former Chairman of the Standards in Public Life Commission, and Jennifer Ahern, Strategic Operations Officer in the Office of the Deputy Governor. Among the applications were a number of public servants. After some deliberation, the committee felt that in keeping with past practices, public servants should be excluded from consideration to protect the political neutrality of the public service. When reviewing the applications, the committee considered the individual's expertise and work experience, whether they had any experience working in an election, whether they appeared to be politically neutral, and any other knowledge or expertise that they may have which would be beneficial in the observer role. Due to COVID-19 related travel disruptions, the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association UK International Election Observer Mission will be conducting a virtual mission by remotely engaging with stakeholders in the Cayman Islands. This subsequently puts greater significance on having a team of domestic election observers on the ground to provide the public with additional reassurance in the absence of international election observers. It is extremely encouraging to receive such a great response from members of the public wanting to actively support the democratic process in the Cayman Islands. I am confident that the appointed observers will provide the independent oversight that is so vital to ensuring our elections remain free and fair. The mix of related experience and expertise amongst the team gives me confidence that they will be able to perform their roles successfully and make a valuable contribution to our democracy, said the governor. My sincere thanks to all those who applied, as well as those who gave their time to be part of the selection committee and offer their insights and recommendations. The selection committee took their role very seriously and exercised due care and diligence in arriving at their recommendations by placing the integrity of our elections as of the utmost importance, said the Deputy Governor. Based on the committee's recommendations and the nominations from the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition, the Governor has appointed 9 domestic election observers. While appointed by the Governor, the domestic election observers will be conducting their work with full independence from the Cayman Islands government. A term of reference outlining the relative roles and responsibilities of the Cayman Islands government and the observers was signed at a meeting on Monday, the 29th of March. Included in the terms of reference is a commitment by the Governor on behalf of the Cayman Islands government to respect the observers' independence as nonpartisan observers and not direct or interfere with their work. This is in keeping with international best practice on local observation missions. The 9 domestic election observers are as follows: Dr. Sidney Ebanks, Mark W. Hilton, Margot Laris Alfonso, Haley Roberts, Colford Scott, Ian Wantong, Oliver Watler, Andrea Ruth Williams, Trakati Young. What I didn't see in this release was who would be the team leader. It is customary that observer missions have a team leader. And I would imagine, not reading the terms of reference, that they will be expected to provide a report on their observations and any recommendations at the end of the period as well. Folks, time for us to take a commercial break. When we return, we will have another candidate in the studio with us, so please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural-tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed, and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
It's time to buy smart. It's time to buy Ropers. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Ropers. Appliances, dishware, bulk foods, and so much more. With huge savings. Ropers is stocked for your hurricane supplies. Don't cut back on your needs. Cut back on your spending with Ropers. Your neighborhood store. Value. Integrity. Ropers Enterprises. 122 Industrial Way. Call 949-2511. Clean up your spending with Ropers. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record, Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're 13 days, 15 hours, 29 minutes away from the April 14th general elections, and it is my pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Mr. Mario Ebanks. He's seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. Mr. Mario, no stranger to For the Record now. Right. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Welcome back.
Good morning, Mr. O.C. Thank you very much to you and Radio Cayman and the listeners in Grand Cayman, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and around the world. Yes, I quite enjoy coming to speak to you and your colleague as well, Sterling Dween. I was with him on earlier this week.
Yes,
I think it was Monday. Yes, I appreciate that. This is Holy Week. This is the week when we reflect on the passion of our Christ, and I am always trying to not just talk but walk the talk. Mm-hmm. And I just want to begin this morning by a little scripture that somebody sent to me this morning. It's taken from Psalms chapter 51, verses 10 to 12. And it says, "Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not the Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit." Psalms 51, verses 10 to 12. And I just want to read that as we start. And as this is being Holy Week, I want to make sure that we reflect on that always.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you. I also, as I said on the show with Dwayne Sterling on Monday, I want to express sympathies also on the recent passing of some of our icons in West Bay, Mr. Joseph, or Mr. Joe Ebanks, and also Miss Naomi Fazio. When I was driving in this morning, I called in on your show the other day, last week, because I was trying to work from home and trying to reduce at least one car on the road and also reduce at least one car that have to find the scarce parking. But the traffic this morning from West Bay was quite intense, but it's not as bad as the traffic coming from the eastern districts. I mean, those people from the eastern districts, East End, Northside, Bodden Town, Savannah, Breaker, all those areas, I mean, it's really terrible. And if we don't deal with the issue of traffic, we're going to have to soon park our cars and walk to work, because it's really getting terrible. So I want to say to the people of the eastern districts, I empathize with you. I feel terrible for you. West Bay has a little bit of a better traffic situation now, but after all of those high-rise condos and developments, that there was 8 or 9 cranes that are erected on the West Bay corridor. When those all get finished, we're going to also be back to that mess if we continue this headlong rush that we are with building and not enough emphasis on infrastructure. What we're doing, as you know, is giving a lot of sweetheart deals, tax concessions to large developers, and rather than putting that money into impact fees, which we have in our books, that we can provide infrastructure and provide help for our environment. We got children getting up very early in the morning. Some of them are going to the school in the back of the car. They're still sleeping. They're having breakfast in the car. They're getting dressed in the car. The parents are trying to get dressed in the car. You have a lot of stress. You have road rage. You have pollution. We're a beautiful, one of the most beautiful places on earth. 3 little islands, and we cannot be operating like we're New York or Singapore or Hong Kong or Sao Paulo, Brazil. We have to manage our growth a lot better. And I want to say to the people of West Bay West and to the entire island that there's no long-term plan for this country. You remember, because you've been around for a while and you've been in high positions. I think it was in 1989 we had something called a Master Ground Transportation Plan. It was put forward. I was the Chamber of Commerce manager there then, and my opponent and some of his political allies, they were in opposition then, having been in the government from 1984. By 1987, he was on the opposition side. But by 1990, he was well entrenched in the other side, because he has a way, as you know, of reinventing himself. So he'll start on one side, and then when it suits him, he'll switch, right? So he was in opposition, and they threw out the Master Ground Transportation Plan. I was the Chamber of Commerce manager then, and I was pleading for them. They said, oh, they couldn't afford it. It was too grandiose. Yeah, it was a huge plan, but they were trying to tell the public that it had to be done all one time. And I pleaded with them, and not just me, but citizens of this country said, at the very least, reserve the corridors, so you'll have those. They said, no, we can't reserve those because we can't pay for them, and all kinds of excuses, right? So now we're paying the price for that lack of leadership. And 36 years later, my opponent wants 4 more years. But I say to the people of Eastern Districts, if you want change, call all your friends in West Bay West, call your friends in West Bay North, West Bay Central, and West Bay South as well, but in my case, West Bay West. Tell them to vote for me, Mario Eubanks, because we're going to put in place a plan to manage this country better and to make sure that our roads are properly done. We have transportation strategy, and we don't have any more short-term gain for long-term pain. Because I tell you, I felt terrible enough this morning, and it was pretty good for me coming out of West Bay, but Eastern Districts, they're still stuck in traffic and getting all the stress from that. So we're going to do better. Elect me on 14th of April, and we will deal with a plan for traffic, a plan for long-term development of this country, and a plan for other things. Yesterday, somebody came to my house, Mr. O.C., a hard, strong man, and he was crying. He's in the construction industry. He'd been riding around and driving around, and he went to like 6 or 7 job sites where there's people working, and many probably non-Caymanians by the sounds of it. He can't get a job. They're telling him that, oh, they don't need anybody now and must come back. So we have 8 or 9 cranes along the West Bay corridor and a lot of development in other parts of the island. Thank God for that. But our people should not be having to go to cry and beg for jobs. Our people, if they're willing and able, should be given those jobs, especially right now in the construction sector and other sectors too. So this young man came to my house talking, and he was crying. I never saw him cry before. I thought he was too strong to cry, but he was crying because he said, I can't get a job. So we have traffic piling up all over the place. We have people who are not employed, right? And that's why I'm running, to fight for those kind of causes. And my opponent continues to talk about what he has done. Yeah, he has done a lot of things. He's done a lot of good things, but he's also done a lot of bad things too. And at some point in the near future, there will be a balance sheet showing his assets are good things and his liabilities, the bad things. And I maintain, and I suggest to you, that the liabilities of my opponent far outweigh the assets in a balance sheet. We'll get to that later. But I want people also, Mr. O.C., to look at me as not just a policy person. People have been saying, boy, you got some good plans and you know what you want to do. I'm a policy wonk. I must admit that. I like policy. I like to deal deep into details. That's how I am. But I'm not just a policy wonk. I'm also a person. And I have a lot of things that I want to share with people. And I also have a lot of personal things that people might know about me that are good. And so I want to, and I don't want my opponent to be telling people who I am. I want them to know it from me. So we have our campaign committee. We have a website, and the address is Mario, the number 4, WBW.com. On that website is a lot of information about me, a very detailed profile, some of my speeches, some of my writings over the years, stuff about me that people might know or need to be reminded of. So I want to invite people to visit our website, Mario for WBW.com, and also our Facebook page, Mario for WBW, to learn more about me, because I want people to know that I'm not just issues and policy, but also a person. And the endorsements at our public meeting last week, Thursday, a lot of people got up and spoke about me personally, and some of those clips are also on the website, so that they'll know that I'm not just a hard policy person. I'm also a person that's approachable and have a history, and I'm fighting for them all over this country, not just in West Bay West. Moving on, as I said previously, Mr. Orrit and the listeners of Radio Cayman, Mario Eubanks, West Bay West, I have chosen a number of scriptures that I have based my campaign on that helped me to decide to run, but also to help to sustain me. And I have adopted St. John chapter 10, verses 1 to 16 as the scriptural charge for me as a candidate, and also when elected as a member of Parliament for West Bay West. And this scripture, I think, is a reflection of my life thus far as a community and a public servant. And the highlights of that scripture from St. John 10, verses 1 to 16, the short highlights are as follows. The good shepherd knows his sheep, and his sheep knows him and listens to his voice. And check this part out. The good shepherd lays down his life for his sheep. And so I hope I have that in my life, but the good shepherd will do that if necessary. And I have no fear of that, if that's the case either. We also have in our campaign, and it's also on our website, something called a statement of shared values and beliefs. And I want to share just quickly some of the precepts in that statement of shared values. One, it says high standards of ethics, morals, and integrity. 2, commitment to godly and Christian values. Number 3, commitment to maintaining a stable government and a stable country. Number 4, outstanding and value-added representation to our constituents. Number 5, commitment to environmental protection, managed growth, and sustainable tourism. Number 6, effective preparedness for our people to allow full participation in economic opportunities. Number 7, gaining strength and meaningful benefits from balanced cultural diversity. Number 8, consistent and reasonable availability and preparation for national affairs. Number 9, commitment to free enterprise and capitalism with a social conscience. Number 10, togetherness and caring for our communities and for each other. Number 11, and this is an important one, they're all important, but this is an important one, willingness to resign as an MP, Member of Parliament, if elected, if evidence of corruption or public misconduct is presented and proven. Number 11, an elevated level of public debate on issues and solutions, free from character assassination, rumors, and innuendo. Number 12, helping people to help themselves and not creating a welfare state attitude amongst able-bodied citizens. Number 13, I think it is, stability, consistency, dignity, and decorum, leading by example. And the final one, number 14, appreciative of public constructive criticism and a zero tolerance for vindictiveness. Those are the shared values and beliefs that I ran on in 2000. I ran on in 2005 election. I'm running on again in 2021 elections. And those are things I commit to and we intend to live by when elected on 14th of April 2021.
Okay, that's a good juncture for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. A conversation with Mr. Mario Ebanks, candidate in the upcoming April 14th general election, seeking to represent the constituency of West Bay West in our parliament. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste, just like homemade. 100% all-natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural-tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
I grew up in a Canadian village with a general store that had just about anything you could ever need. That's what I'm reminded of every time I go into West Bay Pharmacy. It's not just because it's well stocked with necessities and oddities, but also because it's like our community hub. The staff treat customers like friends. Ron and the team of pharmacists have kept my family patched up and flu-free for years, and there are usually a few good laughs mixed in. They are truly taking care of my health and my family's health. West Bay Pharmacy is the very best of Cayman kind.
Honey, our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000. Whether you're finishing a new condo, upgrading your rental property, or simply renovating, make Roper's Enterprises your first stop. Quality furniture at a fraction of the price. Find everything for your home and kitchen at low prices. Roper's, your neighborhood store. Value, integrity. Roper's Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Your home deserves a quality finish. Visit their showroom or shop online at ropers.ky. Ropers, providing products and services for better public health.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, Mr. Mario Ebanks, seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament, seeking election in the upcoming April 14th general elections. Mr. Ebanks, one WhatsApp message here. This listener said that's a fact. They may be Caymanians. Honestly, 99% are status holders, not generational Caymanians. Mr. Ebanks is correct in that. However, I would be holding him to what he's saying and his manifesto if he is elected.
That's right. Hold me to it. We're going to do it, and we're going to be accountable, and we're going to have district council. We're going to have people working around me and holding me accountable, and we're going to deliver what we say we're going to deliver. The DART, I want to talk a little bit about the DART project, the project that is so controversial, where they have this new pad that they're trying to get approval for. And, when you get approval for a pad, which is a proposed area development, once you get approval for that, you kind of give people a green light. And what they're seeking to get a green light on is a project that provides for a canal, or canals, but one of them is go under that bridge on the West Bay Road just past the Kimpton, and go into the Caboose site, which is that big parcel of land that was once mangrove, is now filled in. Mm-hmm. But they also plan to cut a turning basin in there for boats to come from the North Sound, and then they have a little sort of marina there, and bringing the waters of the North Sound within 1,000 feet of the waters from 7 Mile Beach, which is a potential disaster. when I was on the show with Dwayne Sterling on Monday, I then called on DART, the organisation and government, to do something. That Indigo Hotel, which is now a construction site, which I hope West Bay unemployed construction workers will get a job at, and which was supposed to be a park for people to go Easter camping and whatnot, but my opponent, when he was leader of government business, changed the Fort Cayman Investment Alliance / NRA agreement to change the use of that parcel. We didn't know that until now, and that was done like 8 years ago. But that project is not in West Bay West, that's West Bay South. Mm-hmm. But I have been resident of all constituencies in West Bay. I started out living, when we moved here in 1968 from Isle of Pines, I was in West Bay North. Then our family lived in rental properties in West Bay South. Then we moved to Mount Pleasant, where my father built our house in Mount Pleasant, which is West Bay Central. And now for the last 28 years, I've been living in West Bay West. I lived in all parts of West Bay. So I love all parts of West Bay. But that project that DART wants to do is in West Bay. So I am going to fight against it. And I'm asking all West Bayers to sign the petition, to voice their concerns. And even though the planning department is giving people these none of your business letters, which they're saying that if you're not within 1,000 feet of the application area, your letters don't make any sense. Still put your objections in. Let's fight this thing. And I'm again asking the DART organization and our government to put that project back on the drawing board, take it off of discussion, put it back on the drawing board and rediscuss it, because if they push that, I fear, based on what I'm hearing, that there'll be an uprising in this country, and particularly in West Bay, and we don't want that to happen. My opponent, if he is re-elected, will be the continued mouthpiece for that organization and will be pushing that. But unless he comes out and say publicly that he's against it and mean that, I'm saying to the people of this country, object to it, but I'm saying to the DART organization and to the government, pull that thing off, stop that discussion. It is only going to cause problems in this country. And at the same time, our government is doing a project called Plan Cayman, which is supposed to be a big national plan. In the middle of that, which they can't seem to get off the ground, they're trying to put this huge DART thing in the middle of it. Let's get that Plan Cayman thing finished first. And in my case, I have something called Vision 2050, which will look at the overall plan. Let's get all that done first before we plug in all these things that will make those plans obsolete. Anyway, I want to talk today just about a couple of things. You know, when I was here with you before, we talked about human capital and talent development for our people in the workplace, people in the school system, and people in the tertiary education system. And I said to you that I am going to build upon something that was proposed in Vision 2008 called the Human Resources Authority. We're going to create, as part of our strategy, something called a Human Capital Development Authority. That will pull work, which is the Workforce Opportunities Residency Cayman Department. It'll pull the Labour Department, and will pull all the other organizations and entities dealing with training under one umbrella, a Human Capital Development Authority. But one of the other things that we're going to do in the area of human capital and labour, we're going to reform the labour law and create a new labour relations law, or Labour Relations Act. I have in my hand right here, and I show it to the viewers on TV so they'll see it, a draft of a bill that was done in 2015 to repeal the labour law and to provide a new law called the Labour Relations Law. And we're going to, and this is a bill that myself and the previous Minister for Labour, Honourable Tara Rivers, went around this country, Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac, and discussed this. So this is a public document. This government actually then decided to not support it. Okay. Actually, when I saw that happen, right, after all the work that was done in the Labour Relations Bill and also in the Pensions Reform Bill, after I saw that those two things were on rocky ground, that's when I decided that I was going to move on from the Department of Labour and Pensions, and another organisation was headhunting and looking for people, and they recruited me, which I went. But I love that job, Director of Labour and Pensions. But when things like that bill didn't get support, I said, you know what, this is fighting an uphill battle. But I'm coming back as an MP, and we're going to get the job done. And one of the things that have been bothering me is in that bill that we didn't get passed, a number of important things, is the retirement age. And in this bill, Labour Relations Bill 2015, which will form a big part of the Labour Relations Act when I'm elected, that we will do very early in our first term. There's something called the age of established retirement, or established retirement age, and that changes the retirement age from the current age of 60. We don't have a retirement age of 60 in it, but people actually use 60 as that age that they can push people out in many cases, simply because under the old pension law, 60 was when you could start to receive pensions in the private sector and also in the public sector. It's now changed to 65. But the Labour bill was not ever changed to set a retirement age, and never had that. In this bill, it was in there. And so when elected, one of the things that we're going to do is bring up a Labour Relations Act. But even before that, I'm committing that we'll make an amendment to the Labour law to increase the retirement age from 60 to 65. That could be a simple amendment to the law, a government bill. And we'll do that because people are being pushed out. I have ladies in West Bay and around the island that are being pushed out of their jobs at age 60. When they want to work, they can work, they need to work, they're still contributing, they're not holding anybody else down, but they're being told bye-bye. And when they leave, they have no real solid pension, many of them. They lose their health insurance after 90 days if they're lucky. And so how can they survive on $12,000 a year pension, which is what they get now, which is another story we'll talk about in another day. How can they survive? So,
and that's not for life either. That's an annuity. In many instances,
it's not for life because the private sector pensions is what you call a defined contributions plan, and you only get back what you put in, plus interest, less expenses, and when that finishes, that's it. That's it. So we're going to put in place a new Labour Relations law, Labour Relations Act, and the other thing we're going to do, Mr. O.C., under that Labour Relations Act, we are going to reform the tribunals. The tribunals, now you have labour tribunals and you have labour appeals tribunals. Those are within the Department of Labour and Pensions, and it creates a bit of an issue when you have the department that is enforcing the law and also being the tribunal.
Adjudicator, yes.
Adjudicator. We're going to separate that. We're going to put labour tribunals and appeals tribunals under the Commission Secretariat. So it'll be separate. They'll have their own resources. We're also going to appoint someone called a labour commissioner, a full-time judge, so that labour matters are dealt with by the tribunals, and you have a commissioner who makes the rulings, and that's how we're going to do that, because it's taking too long for these tribunals to do their work. They're all volunteers, and they're wonderful people, but there's only so much that you can do, right? So we're going to reform that as well, to have tribunals under the Commission Secretariat, which is in place now, and have very good persons involved in it, and a good leader. We're also going to look at other areas, and which I'll talk about later on when we have more time. But the Labour Relations Act is going to deal with a lot of issues in this country in relation to the workplace relations, employer-employee relations, issues with severance, issues with unfair dismissal. One of the things we have in this country is something called constructive dismissal. Constructive dismissal, where you can be pushed out of your job, but you're not really being fired, but life becomes so unbearable that you decide to go. That's constructive dismissal, but the labour law does not provide now a remedy for that. That's also covered under the Labour Relations Bill, which the government didn't support.
Okay, we have about 3 minutes left.
I want to also say that we also are going to do something else in labour and human capital. We're going to require that all new workers coming into the Cayman Islands have to go through a national cultural and social heritage or history orientation program. We have people coming into this country that have no clue who we are, where we came from, and they don't understand our history or culture. We're going to make it a requirement that there is an orientation program for all new workers coming in to the Cayman Islands for the first time, and those are the things that we're going to make happen, Mr. Orrit. And again, it's not just promises. We are going to do it. So I've covered this morning, and I know I'm out of time, a number of topics, and I want to again talk to the DART government folks about putting back that plan that they have. And I also want to say that tomorrow night on Radio Cayman, tomorrow Thursday, between 7 and 8 p.m., we have the second production of our in-studio discussion called Let's Talk Policy with Mario. That's an in-studio live production here on Radio Cayman 89.9. I have this week a panel of Caymanian subject experts, Mr. James Whitaker and Miss Catherine Wells, discussing cost of living and alternative green technologies and other important issues. So tomorrow evening, between 7 and 8 p.m., Radio Cayman 89.9. Be there with me for Let's Talk Policy with Mario. And it's only an hour, and you'll enjoy it, and you'll be informed. Okay. Let me just end by saying one of my favorite little quotes from a poet called Frost. Frost, one of his poets, says, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, and I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep." I want to create hope for this country. Hope is needed, and I want to say to the people of West Bay West that help is on the way. Vote for me, Mario Ebanks, on the 14th of April, and we can make things happen. We make things better. We're bringing solutions, ideas, and a better vision. You've tried the other guy for 36 years. You tried the rest. Now elect the best. That's me, Mario Ebanks, West Bay West. Candidate number 2, your best choice for West Bay West. I also want to wish all of our people a happy and safe Easter. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your time together. Be safe. And also call your friends across this country. Call your friends in West Bay West and say, we only got about 2 weeks left. And let's get Mario Ebanks elected, because myself, along with other wonderful, dynamic, independent candidates, can form a superior government than the alternative that's being presented. I thank you, sir. God bless you.
Thank you very much, folks. That is Mr. Mario Ebanks, candidate in the upcoming April 14th general elections, seeking to represent the electoral district of West Bay West in our parliament. Please stay tuned. For the Record, we'll be back with another guest immediately after headline news.
Follow Radio Cayman on Twitter. All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Follow us at twitter.com/Radio Cayman.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present. Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Government reported the results of 180 COVID-19 tests. One came back positive. The total number of COVID-19 vaccines administered locally to date is 48,665. The teenager whose film of George Floyd's death sparked global protests says she, quote, stays up apologizing to him for, quote, not doing more. The 18-year-old was one of 4 young witnesses to take the stand in the second day of Derek Chauvin's trial. She told the court of seeing Mr. Floyd begging for his life, comparing him to her dad, brother, cousins, and uncles, quote, because they're all black. Issues of racial equality and policing lie at the center of this case. Brazil's Jair Bolsonaro is facing the biggest crisis of his presidency after the heads of the Army, Navy, and Air Force all quit, and the country recorded its highest daily COVID-19 death toll. The unprecedented resignation of the defense chiefs is being seen as a protest at attempts by Mr. Bolsonaro to exert undue control over the military. His popularity has plummeted over his response to COVID-19. Nearly 314,000 people have died. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
For the Record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is going to give Mr. Bush an opportunity to grab a seat. And
he's not a winner at me. I was sitting in.
Okay, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me now the Honorable William McKeever Bush, Speaker of our Parliament, former Minister, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, the incumbent representative for the electoral district of West Bay West in our Parliament. Mr. Bush, good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. So it seems as if it was only yesterday that you were here.
Yes, thank you very much,
Monday.
O.C., and good morning to those listening to the show this morning. I'm pleased to talk about this morning a couple of things to do with community development, community programs. I want to talk a bit about autism, and I'll just want to say that I'm not going to worry about Mario E. Banks. Mario E. Banks is God. One of the things I want to say first of all is about his discussion, was it yesterday, about my Christianity. I know Mario E. Banks thinks he's God, so I'll leave him where he's at with his own perfect self. I know where I'm at with God all the time, and when I fall down, he picks me up because he forgives all of us. So I'm not a perfect human being, but yes, I am a Christian. As I said, I'm a Christian, and when I fall down, he picks me up because he's a forgiving God. There was a question that came in, O.C. The other day I was here. I think it was asking about which post office I built. Well, and that was from a young lady that got up and endorsed Mario the other night on his platform. And, you know, they talk about bashing, yet they use all these words, all these phrases, all these accusations, and then they get up and cry when you have to answer them at times. There's been a lot said in this campaign that I choose not to get into. They question where I come from. I wrote something, and then I decided, you know what, I'm not going to follow them with that. I know where I've come from. I know who I am. And in case some of them have any doubt about where I come from, they can come and talk to me. My life is an open book. In fact, they've written more than I even know about. So let them come, but I will not get into everything that Mario and his group says, because, like he said, he's been there. All that he's accused, all that he has said, all the things that he claims he's done, he talked about it in 2000. He talked about it in 2005. And then he come back with the same pie-in-the-sky dreams. Finding excuses of where he went from job to job to job to job. He's never told the people of this country about the people he's hurt in those jobs. The Caymanians at the Turtle Farm, a couple, just imagine this, a couple that got together, got their lives together, very decent West Bay couple. They pushed him out. Him was on the board then. He was part of it because he's this guru as a human resource person, you know. He made that. I mean, that's the only thing that never happened before. He made that. They pushed the person. They took him to court, and they won the case against them because the two of them got together. There were no rules against a man and a woman getting together. I was minister when the rules came, and I said, if a man and a woman choose to get together on the job, we're not making any distinction of anything. That's their life. Once they do their job. There was another Caymanian girl, a single parent. That girl that he pushed out was a single parent too. And then she married their Cayman, her partner, her husband. He became her husband. So these are life things. There was another Cayman girl at the airport, pushed her out, and she took them to the tribunal, and
just a little bit further away.
She won. And she won. Now they can probably face a grand court case on it. But that's Mario E. Banks. You think that's the only one he's hurt? I got all kind of people who wants to come on the platform. I said no. I have always believed I'll get an endorsement, but I'm not bringing no pile of people on my platform to talk about people. No. If I have something to answer, I'm going to do that. That's been my modus operandi in campaigning. I had to speak to that. I got another fallacy. Not a fallacy, it's a lie. He just sat here and said that I gave permission to DART for the new hotel that is going there. No, I didn't.
I think he said something about the road, something about the road corridor, the changing of it or something.
No, he said, I listened.
Okay.
He said that piece of land,
yeah,
that we gave that, I gave that in the agreement. That's a lie. I would not give it. I wanted that land to be public open space for greenery, for people to go tenting. I wanted a building on it to for community use, and even, as I said before, for rental, to make some money back, for business people to have meetings, because I thought it would be excellent setting for that. So we did not give that. And Mario has to stop coming here, or he should, since he's such a perfect Christian. He should stop telling these lies. But you see, he's the same person. He's the same person that was an officer, a high officer in my ministry, that I helped him get there, that job. And he took my documents out and carried them to Dr. Frank. Dr. Frank was the opposition. Dr. Frank was good enough to bring them. He said, I don't believe in this. This came from Mario E. Banks. Mr. Jimmy Ryan was ballistic over it and wanted to kick him out at the time, said he would never get another job far as he's concerned. And I said, hold a minute, let's let time run its course. I said, you know what? God takes care of everything. I am not a vindictive person. They can say what they like. I look out for people. I put myself in problem for people. I don't take time to study and go look at people things and want to destroy people. No, they can say what they like. That's not McKeever Bush. That's not my life. My mother raised me better than that. I don't have time for that. So Mario, really, no matter who get up there on his platform and talk about him and give him a good recommendation, that's their business too. I have some people that's going to do so. I've always had probably one or two people that I chose. Miss Bernice Levy, everybody know who she is, right? I mean, you can't find a more upstanding woman, never been on a public platform, than Bernice Levy. The many children she's taught, principal she's been at the school, and she's written a short one, and that's going to be read sometime. And everybody know who Louisa Wells Hedberg is. She's written a much longer one because she's more my age, although I was a pupil. Miss Bernice was a pupil teacher when I went to school, but she certainly taught my two children part when they went to John Campbell Primary School. But Louisa Wells is going to do one for me. She has written it, and I'll choose the timing to bring it out. But I am not going to drag people up, not drag children up on my platform to talk about and get children involved. I don't do that. I've never done it. I believe that I must stand up there. I must say, I must answer whenever if I want to, because I don't have to answer anybody. My life, my record is there. And all I said to Mario, he can bring any amount of paper and any amount of scripture he wants. He do not live the life. And I know that. I say no more. But if they keep it up, if they keep up this thing about wives and bringing wives on the platform, and when I say bringing references to wives, because two have done it now, two. If they continue, I am going to deal with it. My wife of 45 years has never been on a public platform. And they can say that they haven't said it because you might not have heard it here on Radio Cayman. But we know they said it. We know what they say. They forget the things they say, and then they go and get all hyped up. But you know what is worse? And Mr. Benson used to tell me this all the time. Listen, you bring somebody on your platform, you are responsible for what that person do and person say. Don't say that they say that they're not responsible. You are the candidate. You, under the law, are responsible. I look at
you have provided a platform for them to do so.
to come.
Yeah.
And so you get up here and say, he's not doing this. You know, I'm Mr. Perfect. I'm the best person in the world. I'm better than McKeever Bush. I got better education than him. So you can elect me. And then they say, I don't go for this bashing. Oh, no. But then they bring people on the platform that says all manner of evil. And when they get up and make reference to wives, people take it this way. Well, if you're getting up there and you say that your wife is number one and she is the best in the community, worker, and et cetera, then what are you saying? People take it this way. And that's why I have been careful. All of my 40 years, never have that have ever come in West Bay. Never. No reference to family, no reference to children, no reference to wives, spouses. No. So when you get up there and say so, people say, you know, well, he's referencing against Mac. He's referencing against Mac. That's how people take it. So you be more than careful. I know the heat of things. You say things and you say, boy, I wish I had to say it that way. I could say things better. But that's why I don't do it, you know. And if they keep it up, I'm going to tell them where to get off at. They want to talk about beating, then they better mind that I don't get up and tell what I know, because things I know, many people will never know, because that's not my work. I'm here to represent. I've been elected to find solutions, to help with situations. And there's more things that I hope that I could have got done that I have not been able to get done. But the fact is, nobody can say that they ever come to me and I did not listen, that I ever not talk. Another issue, OC, they're talking about, he's going to set up a council. How are we going to do it? He tell you? Remember this, I set up a council in West Bay. They are the same ones that objected to that council. I passed the law and set up the council. He was part of the objection of it. Mrs. Darlene, I call her Dal because I think she's my friend, but Mrs. Darlene Glidden Hurston, I still say Glidden. She was our chairman. We voted, the community went there and voted and chose her. What they done? They just objected, found means and ways of objecting, and now we don't have the council. I have a council. I didn't wait till now to have a council. I've always had people advising me in a group, but we formalized our group, and we have the West Bay West Enhancement Council, which meets.
Okay, good time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with Mr. W. McKeever Bush will continue shortly.
Through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
There's nothing like the smell of freshly baked bread. The warm, inviting aroma, the fresh and natural taste. Just like homemade. 100% all natural, additive-free bread.
Enjoy fresh and natural tasting bread from the iconic Caribbean Bakery. Always delivered fresh to your favorite supermarkets island-wide. Forget the imported frozen and thawed and enjoy our freshly baked selection of quality breads and pastries.
Try our classic white and wheat sandwich breads, coconut and raisin breads, hamburger and hot dog buns, and a great selection of pastries. Feed your family fresh with Caribbean Bakery.
Hi, I'm remodeling a bathroom.
Hey.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
For the record with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Honorable W. McKeever Bush, Speaker of our Parliament, former Minister, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, incumbent member for the electoral district of West Bay West in our Parliament, seeking re-election in the upcoming April 14th general elections. Mr. Bush, back over to you.
Thank you very much, O.C. The person I referred to who wrote and asked the question, that's a person, because she said her name in. If you remember from the last time,
yes,
about which post office I built.
Okay.
Everybody that lives in West Bay and is of any age knows that in 2000 and between 2002 and 2003, we redeveloped and rebuilt the West Bay Post Office. The West Bay Post Office was a little small one-room building. It was firstly, I think it was the police station,
okay,
and lockup. And then it became the post office. And then in between 2001, when government started do some post offices, between 2001 and 2003, I said I was not going to do like Bordentown and build $1 million plus post office. And we renovated, and we wanted to keep the historical aspect of the old post office. So we kept that building. We didn't knock it down, and we built around it and built sufficiently that I don't think we'll need a postal building now for many, many years to come. So we did rebuild it. There are photos to show that. If they keep with their misleading things, I'm going to take the photo and put it on the internet, both of them, because they're there. That building, I renamed it the Clement Wells Building after a former postman who worked for years and years.
He was a bicycle.
I used to ride a bicycle. You might remember that. He's a little bit older than me. And he used to ride a bicycle from West Bay to Georgetown for years and years and years. That never been recognized. He's been the district constable probably for, I know well past 30 years, I believe. But of course, he's the patriarch of the Wells family and well deserving to have that building recognized in his honor. And so that's the building we're talking about. In regards to the canal, I haven't seen the canal. I haven't seen plans for it. I heard about it and I'm investigating it. But I'm not going to jump to conclusions. I know that we built, there was a canal, and I'm told it's not going to go any further than what the canal is by the Hyatt. That's been there for 50 years through Iowa and through everything else. That's been there. So I don't know. I haven't seen any plans. I will investigate to see what the plans are, but I'm not going to object before I know what I'm objecting to. I know that we gave the Ritz permission, and the Ritz comes under the road right now, and comes in right straight to the Ritz. the building. And I'm told that it's not going to be any further than that, no more, it's just like that. So I don't know what the parallel lines will be. I just want to know and get the facts, not from people who's going to hype it up in a general election. I say this to the people of this country: be careful of people like Mario, because he's running for a seat and he wants it bad enough. He'll say anything and he'll do anything. Obviously, he'll say anything. And I have been through all of this, as I told them on Monday night again. My record, and if they want to see this booklet of the number, and this is only some of the accomplishments and the work, some of the work that I had to do, we'll check it and just see if this is the man that you want to kick out and put in Mario, whom you only write things and say he's done things, and really the facts are he's done nothing for the community. Everything Mario has done has been Mario. He's talking about things that he's done as a job. The labor pension, things that we didn't have when he was labor, we didn't get accounts for how many years of pensions. And remember that pensions lost money, lost $200 million. You would want to find out, and you would want to publicize that, but did people know? No, people did not know that their pension, now he might not have been a director at the time, but their pensions lost between 2008 and upwards, between 2005 and 2008 or 2009, $200 million. It is time that we do something about that. And it is time that we make sure that money stays here in Cayman. That is time for all of that. But don't come like he did this for free. He worked there as a paid person. And he come talking like he's the mastermind behind everything. You know, he did it all. I put in labor law. I took the licks. I fought it. And he was doing what? Cutting my throat. You know, Reverend Yvette this morning talked about the Judases. And I didn't realize that all the while he heard about Judas, I thought he always sat somewhere across the table. But he was right on the left of Jesus. And he done what? He betrayed him. He betrayed him. That's Mario Ebanks. What he done with what we done with our things that you're supposed to hold, your sacred trust is to keep your job, that you are part of that job. If you don't like it, you pick up and go. You don't steal out the documents so that you can cut your boss throat. No, you don't do that. But that's Mario. He won't talk about that, but that's him. And so I put in the labor law. We had none, the masters and servants law, the slave law. Today it's not perfect, and we cannot put some of the things that they wish to go in it. Be careful of what you do, because you can always make it worse. And so they haven't brought that piece. Tara is no longer there, that law. We plan to overhaul, because we have to overhaul the labor law. That's a fact. But I'm not going to tell people that we can do this and do that. When you get there, you find out you can't do it. Be careful. I say to the people of this country, remember cadastral survey. I'm old enough to know the many things that were told to us about cadastral survey by upstanding people who were doing the same thing that Mario is doing about many things today, and others about the government. Cadastral survey was supposed to be the destruction of Cayman. You know what it done for us? It made us hold our little piece of land in our hand, and government has a copy. That was going to destroy, because government had a copy of it. It was supposed to destroy your piece of land. You were going to get it back. No. My mother walked up here and she came on the march and she said, all that they told her, I'd never forget the day, and that she said Mr. Anton was signing the petition. And Borden Turner was over him and saying, you sign it, you sign it, you sign it. Mr. Anton did sign it. He told me why he signed it. But cadastral survey is one of the saviors of Cayman. So I from then, I started to take note of how people say things for politics, and how things can be destroyed for politics. And so I am not going to listen to Mario Ebanks, because I know this too. He's a good liar. He is a good liar. What people see in McKeever is what they get. They mightn't like me. They don't like how I talk. I didn't been to a university. No. But I asked them to consider the things that I have done for the country, the way that I have stood up, the things that I have had to fight, the people that I have had to take on, not only in Cayman, but throughout UK and in the Caribbean and in the United States, to stand up and say, no. This is not Cayman you're talking about. You're talking about somewhere else, and you are doing worse. You, United States, are doing worse in Delaware and in other places, and you want to come and run us down? No. That's the same thing. I look at it how I look at it right now. Mario wants to run me down. I'm not going to education. I haven't been to college. And you get people to stand up there and say so. Yes, McKeever has not been that, but look at what I've done for the country, the good that I have done. The things that people might not like about me, the things that they accuse me of, I have not been accused of stealing anything, and I am not a thief in any shape or form.
Okay, time for us to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. The conversation with the Honorable W. McKeever Bush will continue after the short commercial break.
Did you know the third most important factor for customer retention is cleanliness? With 95% of shoppers saying exterior appliance influences where they decide to shop. Keep your business clean with Roper's Janitorial. From offices to restaurants, interior and exterior, walls to rugs and flooring. Roper's cleans it all, including 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511, or email janitorial@ropers.ky. Dress your business for success with Roper's Janitorial. We make your business shine. 949-2511. Roper's, providing products and services for better public health.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Green Turtle. Modern solutions to get you through the new normal. Download the Green Turtle app now and top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination. Home delivery of laptops, tablets, phones, accessories, and iTunes and major online retailer gift cards. And now, home deliveries of groceries and courier service. Guaranteed delivery within 2 hours from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit their list of products at greenturtle.ky or download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today.
This Easter Saturday, hop down to Bayshore Mall for Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore Family Event. Join us on Saturday, April 3rd from 4 to 6 p.m. for refreshments, cotton candy, popcorn, balloons, face painting, steel drums, and more. There will even be supersized Easter bunnies and a kid's scavenger hunt with chocolate treats. Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore Family Event is back. Saturday, April 3rd from 4 to 6 p.m. at Bayshore Mall in Georgetown. Free parking behind the mall. Visit kirkfreeport.com for more information.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Ort Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me this morning, the Honorable W. McKeever Bush. Mr. Bush, one WhatsApp message says, I would like to say that Mr. Bush did well with the social and educational programs in West Bay with the help of his development officer, Mrs. Fady Powery. Mm-hmm. The district was happier, employed, and safer. I do hope he gets back in to help with the advancement of West Bay West. Even though I can't vote in that section of West Bay, new brooms sweep clean, but old brooms know the corners. That's people right. In West Bay have a good memory. So
and I thank them for that, OC, because that's what I say. It's easy to talk about what you want done and things that you might think you can get done. But I've been through it. I know. I've represented the country. It's not a cut and paste with me. It's not a read somewhere and walk come and implement. what I believe in is touch and feel. You do things that helps people, that deals with people issues, and so it's not something written on Facebook. It's not something that somebody dream up and use all kind of highfalutin phrases. No. My social development is about people. I want to say that. Some time ago I talked about autism, and I don't know if I'm going to have the time to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah. Just remember, the clock is the digital one, not the one on top.
I got fooled with that the other day. But yes, autism has been a concern of mine, and I have supported moves to help address that disorder, as I have a grandson that is affected by one of the disorders. And of course, before he was born, I was helping families with it. But autism is a disorder of neural development characterized by impaired social interaction and verbal and non-verbal communication, and by restrictive and repetitive or even stereotype behavior. The diagnostic criteria, as I understand it, requires that symptoms become apparent before a child is 3 years old. So autism affects information processing in the brain by altering how nerve cells and their synapses connect and organize. It is certainly a growing matter in this country. We talk about mental health, and I often wonder if it's not that. Sometimes we see things that we might say, he's different, or he got a mental case. And I wonder if it's not a very heavy part of the disorder of autism, and not really mental, but we don't know that. So our government, and if it can be done with the private sector, I think must establish a dedicated autism treatment center in Cayman, a center of excellence through a private sector, as I said, government-led partnership that can pull together all the stakeholders on the island. And we do have an association of some sorts now, and I think they're beginning to do good work. But I'm talking about a treatment center. That's completely different. And so I think there are things in the world that we could partner with, like the treatment center, when established, and link that with the Autism Genetic Resource Exchange. This is a repository, a gene bank of genetic and clinical information that is available to researchers worldwide. And we would also take advantage of the expertise and experience of WHO, World Health Organization, who can supply advice and guidance in the establishment of the Center of Autism Excellence here in our islands, and ensure that all children and others, not just children, as I said, we got older people with it, older adults with it, who may have reached an older age, are affected with autism in the islands, that they will have access to treatment and special facilities. And some of this needs to be, government have to take their part, because parents right now are having it very, very difficult with things like insurance. And so the stumbling blocks in government must be overcome. Right? For instance, families that need insurance, and the bureaucracy in government has to be cleared so that cynical. And we are dealing with cynical, because that was a good thing that UDP done, as far as I'm concerned. But it has to reach people, and people has to be able to utilize it. And I tell you now, I don't know what we would do without it. But the fact is, it can fulfill its objectives differently and totally help families. But I believe I want a dedicated school of excellence, and I've done some work on this for some time. We had got a house to use, but the budget for faculty, for staff, teachers, and facilities for 20 children ran into several $100,000, and so I couldn't get the funding. And so we didn't get that far with it, but I still have it on my things to do, and something that I'm pushing. That's one of my projects for the next 4 years. I want to see that center dedicated school of excellence, so that children now, parents now who have older children, that they can go there, and parents can have that satisfaction that their child is not just in an association, but is in a school. And it takes, why it's so costly, as I understand it, it takes roughly two teachers per child to deal with, because of the way those children act and react to situations. And so it is something that has to be done. As I said, there's no one specific cause of autism. There are genetic issues, and some medical conditions have been identified as possible factors, but some family or social background can never be a reason for developing ASD. So it is one of the key projects in my social reawakening development policy over the next 4 years. I also talked about, that person called in, I did put in what we call CODACs, the Community Development Action Committees. It's a pity that went by the wayside. To an extent, it's still in government budget, but nothing being done, because it is a community thing. You have to activate the community. You just can't put $10,000, $50,000 in the budget. You have to get people to be in the community, to be involved. Have to have a person like I had Ms. Fede Powery, and she was the community development officer. But then we had volunteers like Martha Ruth Bush, and she was a driver of force behind it. And there are parents now that we could hire if necessary. So I want to reestablish that, because it needs to be done. And so I look to a community wellness program that I would like to see accomplish, show the need for acceptance in the community, where it is important to know that one is valued, that one is loved, that one is respected, appreciated, and that can be heard. And this just can't come by pie in the sky dreams. This is stuff that is easily done, but of course you have to have a formalized program. And what I have in mind starts with the children in the primary school, children who need to embrace and love themselves as a child, that understand that they are created in the image of God and loved by God, and to guide them into becoming, firstly, confident youngsters who can relate well with their peers, the adults in their lives, and by extension in their society, and help them with skills, social skills, etiquette, and other social skills. And to be proud also. I see this in a community program, to be proud of their Caymanian heritage, or our Caymanian heritage, and by extension, who they are as Caymanians. You find that people people begin to drift in our community, not recognizing what we're all about. And this is where I think, as I said, we just don't hire someone, and maybe we'll have to pay some too, but this is where great-grandparents and even other older persons in the community will be involved to pass on skills, to pass on stories, to pass on their skills in cooking, and pass on their knowledge about our culture. So parents, in addition to parenting skills, will be involved in courses and groups, given spiritual direction, one-on-one direction, and will be offered enabling those things that can be offered, OC, I'm trying to say. And also enabling persons to begin to love themselves, love the you. We find that if I come across as a representative, I come across people say, Mike, listen, nobody listen to me, and nobody wants to talk to me, nobody, understanding my situation. And so they lost control of themselves. So we want persons to love the you, love themselves. And this program can help do that, that God has created them, that building the self, building their own worth, as well as relationship building with others. This is what the program in the community can do. This is only a small part, as this is a process, and results will not be realized overnight because you're trying to change attitudes. Attitudes can be a very challenging matter of life that you try to change. But whatever it is offered in this community wellness program will be done in a non-judgmental manner, and a confidential atmosphere will be created. Family nights, for instance, where international or intergenerational activities will take place. That's the kind of vision that I'm seeing. And as I visit schools and talk to families, as I said just now, and listen to children, even if surprise you, 9-year-olds. I mean, people just don't understand the situation they have in the community. And that's where we have to deal with our problems. When a mother brings an 8-year-old and puts that 8-year-old boy on my porch 7 o'clock in the morning and say, you deal with him, use a representative because I cannot handle him. Wow. I can't deal with it. That sort of thing. When a parent comes to me, knock on my window 2 o'clock in the morning because they can't find their 13-year-old, and I've had this done several times, boys and girls, they can't find him. And then I get up out of my bed. Sometimes, I'm still in my office, and they knock on, they see the light, and they knock on my window, and I have to get up and go with them to look for their child. And I know my district, so I know some likely places. And then we find them sometimes even out of West Bay, 12 and 13-year-olds. And so we have to, the balance that I want to see between development and our environment, yes, has to have a balance. And I'm not talking about environment as our natural environment, but our wellness environment, who we are, what we're doing, where we come from. A program has to be put in place because Cayman is small. The world is expanding on us. It's coming in on us. The world is, thank God for certain things, are beating a road to our door. And so we have to prepare. There are a number of cultures coming in that we all welcome, but they are impacting our culture. Our television culture, our internet culture is impacting our natural Caymanian culture. And so we have to address those issues, or we're going to become a lost community. Well balanced in a standard of living to an extent, if you call those things good living, but we lost our community. No, we haven't done that yet. So we have to address all those things.
Okay, we're going to take our last commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, with Mr. William McKeever Bush will continue after this short commercial break.
Did you know that defective airbags can cause serious injury or even death if not repaired immediately? Right now, millions of vehicles around the world are under recall for faulty Takata airbags, and yours could be one of them. At Vant Motors, our priority is to make sure the Toyota or Ford you drive is safe. So we are offering customers a free, fast and easy airbag swap out if your vehicle was manufactured in 2016 or earlier. Find out if you need to have new airbags installed by emailing your Ford or Toyota vehicle's VIN or vehicle identification number to service@vantmotors.com, or stop by Vamp's Service Center or call us at 949-2245. Don't risk it. Get the airbags in your Toyota or Ford checked for free at Vant Motors on Walkers Road.
What's that? No sugar, same amazing taste? Coca-Cola Zero Sugar is here to stay. Classic taste, pure satisfaction. Be sure to stop into any Tortuga location and get your own case of Coke Zero. Or grab an ice cold one straight from the cooler. Brought to you by Tortuga Distributors Limited. Coca-Cola, taste the feeling, Cayman.
Why work with a Suriba agent? We can tell you that those letters represent a proven understanding of the real estate market in the Cayman Islands. But it also means so much more than that. Our trained Suriba agents are committed to ethics, integrity, and excellence of practice. It's all about confidence, knowing you are working with a qualified Suriba agent. As members of Sariba, your trust is our promise. To find a Sariba agent today or to search thousands of listens, visit Sariba.com. Sariba, the mark of excellence in real estate.
Cayman Turtle Conservation and Education Center invites you to join them on Sunday, 11th April for their first annual Turtle Crawl 5K Walk and Run. All funds raised from the event will support the conservation of green sea turtles in the Cayman Islands. So come on out and show your support. Learn more and register now at www.turtlecrawl.ky. Proudly sponsored by HSM, Rotary Central, Gatorade, and Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Ort Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orit Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show with the Honorable W. McKeever Bush, he's the Speaker of our Parliament, former Minister, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, incumbent member for the electoral district of West Bay West in our Parliament, seeking re-election as well. Mr. Bush, just the person who had raised the question in relation to the post office has basically said that I was asking a question, not disputing that he built it. I think I was pretty clear in stating that, and there should be no offense taken to me asking the question. So they say the question was asked basically, for as a question, not disputing whether or not you had built it.
Well, the way the question was framed is, tell me which post office you built, I think. Which post office you built in West Bay.
Let me see if I can...
And so certainly I wasn't given, I don't think I gave any I haven't taken any offense to the question.
Okay,
I do know that she was a person that said some things on the platform, on Mario's platform, down in the park, which I built, which you say that I hadn't done anything. She was on that platform. I know who the person is. I have respect for the family, of course. I simply answered it the way it was asked.
Okay.
Everyone knows that about the old post office and the new one that I built. And so, see, I only got 10 minutes left. Minutes left. But I wanted to touch on those two subjects this morning. That community is not just going to church or having a few organizations. We have now, as I said, because the way that we are being impacted, we have to take hold of our community. And government's going to have to put some money into it now to deal with those issues. Well, see, there's a cliche being used about Cayman. Some run it down, some are our own people, we got to leave here, and then others are using this cliche about Cayman for Caymanians. And they take it and they throw it around when it suits them. Because I know some of them. I know who's saying what. I know they're actually saying some of them is Cayman is for me, for them and their special friends. What we need here, and that's what I'm talking about, the community, is real feeling. So people who are always going to have those who care for themselves, only we're going to have that. And the common prejudices, as you know, that exist in Cayman, common prejudices will always exist. I know that. And their prejudices never ever bothered me. Some of them, they get on the platform today. They see this and they think that, he's had plenty of problems, so we can kill him with this. We can get rid of him this time. I live with nothing else. But doing good for our people wherever I can, wherever they come from. I'm not here to beat on any nationality. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here because you come from Jamaica, you think you're the worst person in the world. You come from Cuba, you're the worst person in the world. You come from Honduras, you're the worst person in the world, but the best people in the world are Canadians and Americans only. No. Good comes from everywhere. They belong to our community. And what I see here are far too many who want the power, willing to crucify to denigrate and tear down. I certainly don't believe it's the way to go. And unfortunately, we've had to defend ourselves on the platform and on social media. But what I want to be working at, because that's not me as much as people think so, I am a fighter for Cayman and for people. But what we do need is a real awakening of caring for each other. That's what Cayman needs to be doing. Stop looking at other people and saying they got this and got that and they stole it, because you don't know. You see, you might see him, but you say try walking in his shoes, then you know what it's all about. But take time instead of complaining, and even take a lesson from them. Look at how they come in and got business. Well, let me see how I can do that. Let me see if me and my friends can get together and we're going to help John Brown because he's one of us. We're going to help him build his house because that's what they do. Take a page out of their book.
And that's what we did in Cayman years ago as well.
That's what we
got
did.
Where we were.
That's what we did. People came, and even them carpenters that could help you and charge you, they charge you less. I never forget Mr. E.W.T. Banks, the late Mr. E.W.T. Banks, how he helped me with my house roof when I was going to put that on. But we're not going to get there. We're not going to get what I'm talking about with people who don't know any better than to spout off a lot of cliches because they can talk and they have had enough learning to go on the internet and find things and say this or that. No. Touch and feel, not cut and paste. Touch and feel. We are not going to be a united people totally. That's my worry. If we don't get to our community, it's not going to happen because some feel to get a head start, they have to be jealous of someone, they have to be accusing someone of doing wrong. I know the good I have done for my people, and no matter how they cut and paste and regurgitate material as Mario is doing, they cannot wipe out the good I've done for these islands. Those successes were not built on hate and jealousy, not getting up on a platform and criticizing. They were done by hard work. Examples that I took from people like Captain Charles and Sir Wassel when I worked with them. Successes were built on real care. I know that I have that care because I was born with it. I know what it is to want, what it is to wake up and need a breakfast, and Mama hadn't been able to fix it because she's working 2 jobs yet. And that's what we're about. Positive results for people. That's my slogan. Positive results for people. I just fervently hope that those persons who rant and rave and talk what they don't know and give no idea on a cure of problems would just be more respectful of themselves and understand that pointing their finger at McKeever, they look in the mirror first. Stop thinking the worst of everyone they don't have a connection with. Some of these people I see writing on Facebook about me, never ever spoke to me in their life. All they do is read what when the lady write or somebody else that aren't nobody. Because I look at them and say, who are you? Who are you? They don't have a connection, and I'm saying me now, but I'm talking about the generally they crucify people, talk down to people, talk about people, accuse people, give people bad name. They have no connection with them or ever had a close relationship or even spoke to them. Me, as I said, I'm about positive results for people. Oh, see, okay, I want to wish...
We have about 3 minutes left.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a holy season, and this is a good time for reflection. I use it. I come to Easter. It's a time for me to reflect. This morning I went to early morning worship at the United Church. I don't attend the United Church, but my church, Resident Holiness, don't have an early morning service.
Okay.
And I went to the United Church to listen to Reverend Yvette. She's one of my favorite persons in this country, and she did talk about the Judases. But I want to wish everyone a very pleasant, holy season. I want everyone to be careful, though, especially those that going out to the beaches with their children on the beach. I warn again, the amount of sharks that I see, when my son tells me he's taking my grandchildren there, I am not easy till I know he's back home. And I would ask them to be careful in the waters. Monday in West Bay is the Grassmany Banks fishing tournament. And I encourage people to take their young children. It's something really worth going. I didn't get involved. I went by just to see how people were enjoying themselves.
Okay.
I plan to take my 2-year-old grandson there on Monday. And so I encourage people to get involved positively. Be careful on the roads. Be careful in the water on the beach. We don't want to end up having deaths unnecessarily, deaths, accidental deaths, etc., problems in the community. We do have two families who are in grief, one in West Bay West and one in West Bay North. Both are people who I respect. Both, in fact, one was very close to me. Brother Joe was very, very close to me. I'll be singing at his funeral service, Ship Ahoy. He allowed me to sing, and he enjoyed that song. And of course, he was an old seaman who's committed his life to his family. What a missing. We're losing our old people, OC, and we ourselves are getting older. But I'm not too old to retire yet. So I'll tell Mr. Mario, no, it's no time for you yet. I still have work to do. So you can use, Mario, you can use what I've always used in every budget speech that I've made in the House. The woods are lonely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go. Look in the Hansard and you'll find it. Everyone that I've used mostly in my budget speech, closing my budget speech. The woods are lonely, lovely, dark and deep. I have promises to keep and miles and miles and miles to go before I sleep. I love Frost.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bush. Folks, that was the Honorable William McKeever Bush, Speaker of our Legislative Assembly, former Minister, former Premier of the Cayman Islands, incumbent member for the electoral district of West Bay West, seeking re-election in the upcoming April 14th general elections. I want to thank you for listening in. Thank you for sharing your messages with you. There will be no more For the Record until next week, Wednesday, one whole week before another For the Record. Please stay safe. Remember the reason for the season. Enjoy it. Celebrate it. Reflect on it as well. Have a great day, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
Also brought to you by Ropers Enterprises, 122 Industrial Way. Products and services for better public health. Green Turtle. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile, saving lives today. The Ministry of Commerce, Planning and Infrastructure, and by West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.